Today with Pastor Jay. And I have this wonderful woman here. We're gonna do some microphone checks. You good?
Yes.
You good? Make sure we got this going on together. I have Patricia Ward in the studio.
Hey.
Hey, I better stop chewing gum. That probably won't work well on the radio. Mark, you gotta get me straight, Mark. You hear me up there smacking like I got an issue. All right. I am ready.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Wake up, good morning, and wake up and stretch and thank God that you are on this side of the dirt, because you could be under the dirt, really under the dirt. But we're just grateful, thankful to be alive. And last weekend was Mother's Day. You guys got an opportunity to hear from my 94-year-old grandmother and my mom. And I'm just so blessed to have both of them still in my life. And I had a wonderful celebration with my children. It was different this year because it was the first Mother's Day without my daughter, one of my daughters. And the Lord just reminded me to focus on what I have left. And I am grateful for the 6 children I have remaining and my grandchildren and my family. So God is just so good. He is able to keep you sane anyway. I thought about losing my mind and then I decided against it.
Yes, we do.
And we do. And
yes, we do.
and that beautiful
Yes,
voice
we
you
do.
hear
Yes, we
is
do.
from Patricia Ward. And she knows exactly what I'm
Yes,
talking about
yes.
because she lost a son. How long ago was it?
26 years.
26 years ago, you lost your son, Curtis. He was 16 years old, right?
Mhm.
And but you've done something with your pain and with your action. You took action and turned it into purpose. You took your pain and turned it into purpose, and then you continued to move forward and started establishing laws. I mean, you are a bad mama jamma.
Thank you. It's God, though. I have to give honor and grace to God. He
Hmm.
just took me by the hand at 12, and I just been walking in his footsteps.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit about your story. We met through an organization, Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice.
Yes, shout out to Crime Survivor
Gotta
Safety
give
and
gotta
Justice.
give a shout out.
Florida, woo woo.
Whoop whoop. I remember when we started, I think it was like roughly maybe 4,000 survivors. Now it's over 13,000 survivors in the state of
Hmm.
Florida that gather together that have brought healing, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yes,
heal people, hurt people. So
yes.
this is something that we do. It's an organization that I've been involved in for 4 years. And
Five.
you've been 5 years for you, 4 years for me. And it hasn't been in the state that long. But what we do is we come up with stuff, right?
Yes.
On how we can pass legislation. How do you pass laws and come up with laws and bills without speaking to the survivor of those that are most affected by them? And those are the survivors of crime.
Yes.
So let's hear a little bit about your story. Your son Curtis was 16 years old, and what happened to him?
He went to a party at the beach and he didn't make it back home.
Mm,
So I just been struggling to find out what happened to him. And so in the process of that struggle, we came up with Curtis Law to get basic information which I didn't get.
mm.
So my most painful thing was just trying to find out what happened to him and where his
And then you
clothes
didn't
at.
get anything.
No,
So,
ma'am.
initially, it wasn't even ruled as a homicide, correct?
No, it was accidental.
It was considered an accidental death. Let's
And
talk about that.
they said it was an accidental because he swam out into Pacific Ocean. He swam too far because he couldn't swim.
Mm,
So they told me my child couldn't swim.
mm.
So that was like a big red flag because he taught me how to dog pedal, back float, any survivor things in
Hmm.
water. So that was my connection between my son, me, and the ones investigators that
Hmm.
last had contacts.
Hmm. So through this, how long did it take you to get it ruled a homicide?
20 years.
It took you 20
Yeah,
years
it
from your
just
son's death to go from accidental.
they ruled it 2017.
Wow.
Hmm.
So for years, they were saying it was accidental, and you kept pushing.
Yeah, because they said that they couldn't arrest or do nothing on the case because it was accidental. The coroner ruled it accidental. So that's why they wasn't doing that, and that's why they wasn't investigating. That's why. So I went towards the coroner, and we finally got a coroner to look at it, and he ruled it homicide.
Wow.
The fact that he was chased into water and died, had he not been chased into the water, then Curtis Wilson would be alive.
Mm. Mm.
Made it a homicide.
So hearing it go from accidental to a homicide, how did that help you when it comes?
It helped. It's a when you lose a loved one,
Mhm.
it's a closure process that we all must go through. Although we don't know that we're going through a closure process, we have to. So from the first time you hear about it, it becomes the why, the where, the who, the what. And until them questions until you're ready to get them questions and answers, um, you're still like in limbo.
Mm, I can definitely understand that. So during this time, you have been fighting. You've been fighting for over 20 years to get it turned over from accidental to a homicide, and you've been helping other people as well, other women who have lost children.
Yes. So when they suppose the coroner's report should be given freely.
Mm,
Anybody can get it. I mean, like I can get your child's coroner report.
mhm.
You don't need ID. You don't have to be a family member. They can send it through the email. It's supposed to be free. So a lot of families that I come in contact with, they've been suffering. My neighbor across the street, 16 years, not knowing exactly, just hearing on the street that her son was shot like 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
but in actuality, he was shot 10 times. So she got the coroner's report, and it told,
The story.
yes, 3 different guns, where the shots was. And so she was able to begin her closure process.
So she can have some healing. And how difficult, I know you've worked with parents before. We'll get to Curtis Law in a minute and how that came into play. But you were working with women and working with families who were not given coroner's report, wasn't given basic information. I recall you mentioning a family whose the phone was disconnected for the detective.
Yes.
So how challenging
Yes.
was it to get this information?
Yes, I had to make some calls. I had to ask her. Okay, she came to the house. We went to the coroner. It was a process. So I finally got her the coroner report. So we asked her to not be by herself
Mm,
or by themselves when they read it.
gotcha.
So once they get that, they can begin the closure process. So I had to sit. I think it took like a week calling the police department, crime victims, going through a process just to find somebody
Who was willing?
that would talk to her
Mm,
about the status of a 3-year-old case.
wow.
Mhm.
And during this time, parents are suffering. They're not able to get any information. Now, your son's death was in the state of California,
Yes.
and you moved to Florida, but still in California, you were fighting to have it overturned from here.
Yes.
And you did just that.
Yes.
And not only did you have it overturned, you had CSSJ get involved. Now, one of the most amazing things I've seen that you've done is you wrote your own bill.
That's God.
I mean, you wrote your own bill. I mean, you are just you bad. You're it.
That is just God. I mean, the pain gets so deep, and
Mm-hmm.
the pain gets so deep when you're wrong. And it's not just death. It's like, with your bill.
Right.
That pain get deep
So-
when you go to try to
Get stuff done.
get a job and you can't
Right.
because something, and,
Right.
So any compassion that makes you feel unease or stop, you're strong and you're bad too, because you changing the law for others to
I
pull
appreciate-
up
I-
and to lift.
I appreciate that.
It's all in us. God has us a purpose.
Right.
So he take us through different things. And it's not of us. We can't say us. We can't say I. It's all God. It's all in his purpose.
Right.
Us meeting, us clicking. I mean,
I
just
know.
like
We're gonna talk about that. We gotta take a break.
Hey, okay,
Don't go
before we
on-
go on to break.
Okay.
Shout out to Pastor J. Her birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Pastor J.
Well, thank you guys. We gotta take a break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor J. He's a sneak. A little sneaker. Sneaker poo. Sneaker poo.
Yeah.
Sneaker poo.
What you gonna do for your birthday?
All right. We're going to go. What did I say I was going to talk about when I come back from the break? Because you got me all thrown off
I'm
about my
sorry.
birthday.
I'm sorry.
Ah,
Crime Survivor, something in there. Something
yeah, it
coming
was
up,
something.
event coming up.
You remember what it was, Mark? Okay. All right. We'll come back in. All right. I'll have to guess. All right. You ready? Welcome back. Welcome back. You listen to Today with Pastor Jay, and I have Patricia Ward. We talking about a mom whose son was killed 26 years ago, and she didn't give up. Took her 20 years to get her son's death ruled as a homicide. He was killed in the state of California. She moved to Florida, and she kept fighting for her son, kept fighting for justice, and she was doing that. And she's a powerful woman. She wrote a law. Listen. This woman wrote a law called Curtis's Law. And what that does is give basic information like the coroner's report, what was the items that was on your child. And it's for minor children under the age of 18. Your son was 16. Just basic stuff. Who's the detective? How to get the phone? What's the phone number to the detective? Who's investigating? Basic stuff that most people think you can get, but you found out can't get it. Couldn't get anything. I know I heard you say something about your son's cell phone. You weren't even.
Yeah, so back then we didn't have cell phones, so that's the
Was
thing
it a
for
pager?
the passion. I know, right? So today's
beeper?
today's families, it is the cell phone. So
Right.
they want that cell phone. They want
Okay.
them pictures out the cell phone. So the thing with Curtis Law, it will, if they can't tell them, give them the property.
Right.
They have to give the amount of the property.
The list of what was in there.
Yes. So they can't auction it or sell it.
Oh.
So if you pass away, then and it's not solved,
Right.
then it'll go to her. If she passed away in her generation, it'll go down to the next generation.
So in other
But
words,
it
they
can
can't.
never.
So they were selling people property.
Yeah.
And
So
stuff?
my cousin, her son and his best friend was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He was 9. His friend was 11, and they went on a bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't make it back home. A man like burnt them,
Oh, wow.
molested them, tortured them. And so this was in California too as well. So they finally caught him 10 years later on another crime
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else. But she wanted their bikes,
Oh, I can see that.
and they gave the bikes away.
They had already given the bikes away.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So she said, "Can you please?" I said, "Nina, I will make sure that we add this into that."
So
the property.
in the state of California, this was just passed last year. It came effect January 2023. So you work in multi-states. You a bad man pajama. You work in multi-states. So in California, it's known as SB 1268, right?
Mhm.
In the state of Florida, it is House Bill 233, but it is named Curtis Law.
Yes.
So let's talk about how this come about. And you and I met, and I don't even remember how we connected. I don't remember the first day we met.
Well,
But
we
we
was
connected.
having meetings up here,
Oh, okay, that's right.
and
yeah,
I
that's
was
right.
seeing. You know how they send crime survivors? They always doing something. They're sending you all kind of emails,
That's
texts.
right.
There's so much going on with crime survivors. I mean, you never.
CSSJ.org for those who want more
Yes,
information.
yes. So,
They
your
posted,
Flagstaff meetings kept coming up.
and you like,
And I gotta come down here, and it's only like 45 minutes. I'm riding down, and then
that's
so,
how
yeah.
we connected.
Yes.
Well, I want to tell you how proud I am of you because this year you worked tirelessly. I mean, for those of you who don't know, to get bills passed through the House and the Senate and for them to become law, it's a painstaking process. You know, you have to find a sponsor. You find a sponsor in the House. You have to find a sponsor in the Senate. And then once it's all written up and everything and it's all approved, then you have to practically make sure they get on the committee hearings, right?
Yes.
Oh,
And I'll have to give that to crime survivors working in the background.
That's
and you,
right.
Pastor Jay, where she will go up into Tallahassee Capitol, knocking on doors, talking to House representatives,
Sure.
talking to senators,
yeah.
got a radio playing in the hallway, and just running just running the Capitol. So I mean,
They didn't know. They don't know that
it
part.
took like
Miss
they
Ward.
say, it took a village to raise some kids.
Uh-huh.
It take a village to get a bill.
It does take a village, because I'm gonna tell you, it was a lot of work and a lot of prayer. It really and truly was, on all the bills that have been being passed. But you went to every Senate meeting, every House meeting, and you spoke before the Senate.
We did.
No, you spoke before the House, I should say.
We did.
We did. Well, whatever.
Yes, we did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did an awesome. What was it like sitting there? And I want to give a shout out to Representative Kion Michael out of
Yes.
Jacksonville.
Thank you, Kion. Thank you.
So before she went forward with this bill, I had the blessing to speak with her on a Zoom call, and fortunately for me, I knew her before she became elected. But here we are in a Zoom call, and they told her I was coming on, right? I'm trying to be all professional and everything, because now she's Representative, the Honorable Michael. I go and she go, "Hey, Pastor Jay," and I'm like, "Shh, shh, keep it down, keep it down." But this hit home for her. She also sponsored the illegal immigration bill this past year. Her son was killed by a twice deported illegal immigrant. So hearing your story about your son being murdered, being killed, it being overturned in the basic information that you did not receive, and how you had to fight for that. In fighting for the information, it was overturned. Right? Isn't that something?
Yes.
Something as simple as fighting for the information was overturned from accidental to a homicide.
Yes.
So she understood, and she was able to relate to this bill, and she took it on. We did have a Senate sponsor, Senator Jones, on the Senate side, but Representative Michael, she did something that you're not supposed to do. They say you're not supposed to get married to the bill, but she was passionate about Curtis Law. Not only was she passionate about House Bill 233, she made sure your son's name was mentioned. Tell me about the time
written in there.
It's written in the bill.
Yeah.
So tell me about the time when you found out about that.
Yeah. So Shabash was like, "Okay, the lady that was on the commercial is sponsoring your bill, right?" I said, "The lady on the commercial, that ain't real. That's a commercial. That I didn't think it was real." And so, the governors, we didn't think it was real. And so, he said, "Yeah." And so once it started, then he called me back and he said, "Hey, she wrote up the bill and she's naming it Curtis Law." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm gonna send you the
document.
And so I began to read it, and it said, "This law will be known as Curtis Law."
Wow.
So I called Sabash back and I'm crying. Sabash, it says Curtis.
Yeah.
So and then through the whole process, the committees, his name, his full name. Oh my God.
His name being mentioned in the House, his name being mentioned in the Senate every time. Because, it has to go to 3 different committees on the House, 3 different committees on the Senate. Then it has to go to the floor. And here's the thing, if the committee chair don't want to hear it, then if they don't like it, it may not even go. I mean, it's a huge, long process. We started out, and how many times
in March, I think.
No, January, February.
Was it?
Okay. Yeah, I was going, as you say, I was storming the Capitol.
Yes,
so
she was.
In January, I was there before before session started.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you went back and forth all the time. You were there. You were sitting there. Every committee, everything for them to vote on it. And I just want to tell you how amazing that was.
Yeah, I mean, crime survivors had 3 bills to go up, and mine and yours was one of them.
We had 3 different bills, but we're talking about your bill.
I know, but I'm just saying they all went through.
All
they
3
all
of the bills.
Slammed it. All yeses, no nos. I'm just telling you how God worked. I can't say just me. I can't just say mine. Crime survivor had 3 that unanimously went through.
They did. So now we're waiting.
God worked out. I mean, you cannot not say God ain't had his hand on a purpose.
Of course he did.
Man, and I just, you know what, when I talk about God, oh Lord Jesus, in his name, Jesus kept me afloat.
He did. I can attest to that. I can absolutely attest to that. And I know what that's like. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to get through. So now we're waiting. So now that your law and all three, as you say, have passed both the House and the Senate, we're waiting on the governor to sign them into the law. So
Yes.
once he gets the bill, which he hasn't at this time, airing is this, he haven't received it yet. He has an opportunity. He can reject it. He can veto it. Like, nope, I don't want it. He can sign it, or he can push it aside for another time or whatever. But he has 7 days from the
Left.
time that he received it to sign it. If he has it in his possession and doesn't sign it, it automatically becomes law if he
Yes.
doesn't veto it. So we're just praying that he'll go ahead and
And
sign it and
yeah,
sign
we
all
know
of them.
God ain't brung us this far and slammed all of it, green lights everywhere. I just know that God ain't brung us this far to let it go now.
All right. All right, we got to take another break. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Shout out to, you have contact information?
Yes.
Okay. That way, if somebody has
Okay.
problems or whatever, they can get in touch with you or something like that. I
Yes,
got to
it's
give
justiceforcurtis.org.
yep. All right, you ready? I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Steve Verrier, the FloridaMortgageCenter.com. Thank you for sponsoring today and for Church on the Rock. Church on the Rock, Church on the Rock. Of course, Gerald Ministries. Boom, booyah. That's how we do it around here.
Thank you for having me on
No,
here.
thank you so much for being on the show. So, it was touch and go. I mean, you had some emotional times, and I prayed with you. Look, y'all just don't know what was going on. I want to invite everyone to really, if you have an opportunity, don't just watch the Florida channel. Go to the state capitol. It's open, inviting, and watch how these bills go into law. We watched and listened to several others, and we saw some of the
Yes.
drama. I mean, they were
Yes.
picketing outside
Yes.
and
Yes.
doing all kinds of things if they didn't
Yes.
like stuff. It was challenging. Trust me, if you see it in person to be part of the process, it is amazing. But I want to give a website, cssj.org. That's Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. If you know someone else who's a survivor of crime, or you just want to get involved, you can go to cssj.org. If you live in my local area here in Flagler County, we do have chapter meetings Wednesday, every third
It's tonight.
Wednesday, from 5:30 p.m. on. And you can always contact me by calling me at 828 Geraldine, or go to my website, geraldine.org. But how can we get in touch with you? Because I know we've got some parents out there going, I, y-
Yeah.
I
So
must.
in the process of keeping his memory alive, I started a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
organization, 501c3. It's called Curtis and Company for Children Gone Too Soon.
Mm,
And our website is justice, the number four, Curtis, CURTIS.org. That's justice, the number
Justice, the number
four,
four,
Curtis.org.
Curtis.org.
Our phone number is also 904-360-9306.
So you started a nonprofit.
Yeah, I didn't want to just I didn't want to let it sit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a signature. So we had over 700,000 signatures. It just went high.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like at a platform.
Mm,
So I didn't want it to just sit there because I had got the maximum of signatures.
mm-hmm.
And that's when we started the
The
nonprofit.
nonprofit
Yeah, to keep it going, to keep it up, to keep it awareness.
to keep
And to
awareness.
and to be able to help others.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for your bravery, and for displaying your faith. And we've connected over this journey. I remember
Yes.
when we started, I would go out, tell you, I got you. Remember that?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I do, and I still
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
Thank you for allowing me to just serve you,
Yes, ma'am.
in this way. It is truly is an honor to help get Curtis Law passed. And thank you for your bravery and how you've been able to take pain and turn it into purpose, right?
And
And
what was the name
action.
of your law?
We talked about it. Okay, now she wants talks
Yeah,
about me.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
have that kind of time.
And I just throw your bill out there.
I've done a show.
I know.
I
I
got
want to
two.
hear it.
Okay, there's two. Next time we'll talk about that next time. Where was I? She got me confused. Uh, Where was I? Back me up, Mark.
Information.
Yes, I'm about to close out.
Okay.
She's something else. I don't need bravery, and for displaying your faith. And we've connected over this journey. I remember
Yes.
when we started, I would go out, tell you, I got you. Remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
And I do, and I still
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
Thank you for allowing me to just serve you
Yes, ma'am.
in this way. It is truly is an honor to help get Curtis Law passed. And thank you for your bravery and how you've been able to
Stop
take
right there. Back up, because I said thank you for your bravery twice.
help and just I'll just start from there. All right, guys. Well, you know what I say, Miss Ward? It's been an honor and a privilege. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to go to justice4curtis.org and look up Patricia Ward and all the great things she has done. God bless you.
God bless you all.
Talk later. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.